Everyone, hope everything is going well. Okay, this is going to be another macro video tying into sports cards and how I am interpreting information data. So, just a warning. I know some people don't like it when you talk about macroeconomics and sports cards. I'm going to say it politely. If you don't want to hear that type of stuff, then don't watch this video. Because usually I get these comments, you're talking about this. I'll give you the warning. Don't watch then. It's okay if I get 50 people watching this video. Okay. Just, I wanted to go back to earlier on what I was talking about money supply. And, you see a gradual increase in money supply. But like since 2009, when sports cars started to pick up gradually with the printing of money, monopoly money, you saw sports car gradually go up. And then bada bing, bada boom, you got 2019, you got Gary V phenomenon, you got all of this, all of these people in their 30s and 40s starting to get back into sports cars because they were kids and they want to get back to the hobby. So what ended up happening was you had the pandemic, money printing, and boom, sports cars went up like crazy. I look at it from a 5 year period, and you could see that the money supply just skyrocketed. You haven't seen this. You could look at this graph. There's just a gradual increase. You didn't see this type of dramatic move since this graph was created or they started looking at data. 1960s, money supply, M2. And you could just see this was an aberration. And it appears that the type of move that we saw in 2020, 2021, as most of you know and is common sense, was an aberration, not because of free market forces, of because of funny money that was printed out of thin air. So what comes up must go down, and it has gone down. And we're going to face ramifications for what happened in 2020. And it could happen as soon as a couple of months from now. All this type of liquidity tightens up. And I talked about, I'm not going to get too much into reverse repos. Don said, don't talk about this. But 2022, cash coming out, cash going into the system. Now we're close to zero. Red flag. I do accounting for this. I'm doing less work for it as of right now for reverse repo accounting. Just FYI. And this is also pumping up the system, BTFP. And this basically came in when Silicon Valley Bank went under. And once this liquidity goes, you need to have some money pumping into the system. I mean, I could look back at this graph over here. You know, there are opportunities every day, okay? And some of the opportunities that I look at in trading is divergences. And I'm going to get into sports cards, by the way. And you can see money supply divergence. There was more M2 in April 2022 compared to now. While everything is ripping in, while the stock market's ripping, it's probably going to rip after the election, in my opinion. And maybe one more rally before this whole house of cards goes down. But this was the liquidity coming to the system, trillions of dollars, which no one really has connected the dots. Maybe some people have, but you can't pump up the system without M2 going higher. And I want to tie into, once again, the sports card hobby. It's just a year to date change. Maybe you want to look at a 1 year change, or let's look at a max change. Let's just look at this. Okay, their index CL50, they're looking at it from a longer period time frame. Let's see, look at this. All time. I don't think they have the data from this chart. Okay, maybe here. You're looking at 2004. So they're looking at it, the CL50 selected cards. Mantle 311, PSA 4. You got MJ, Fleer 86, PSA 9. Like you have all these iconic players and cards that people definitely would love to get or would definitely love to buy. The what? Babe Ruth, number 144, 1933 Gaudi, 1979 O-Pee-Chee, Wayne Gretzky, number 18, PSA 8. Some nice cards in the Card Ladder 50 Index. And I've critiqued this a long time ago. And I just look at it and I understand there are some cons, there's also some pros to looking at these graphs. Anyways, you could see gradual increase, just like M2, right? If you look at it, let's look at it from max, right? It's just gradual increase, gradual increase. You could see that. Maybe I could overlay it one time. You see a gradual increase, just like money supply, and then boom, sports cards went crazy. And you could see the top, the CL 50 coincided with basically the opening of the economy of March 1st, 2021, the first time around. And then there's an opening up the economy in 2022. And I swear, like, what was this? There was barely any reverse repo. You know what's the crazy part of all of this? There's barely any reverse repos February 17, 2021. Once they're starting more reverse repos, boom, liquidity coming out of the system, sports cards went down. But you also had, once again, the opening up of the economy, the clot shot, that was available. So that gave people confidence to go out in public again and all of that. And down came the market. Like I said, just when the economy started to open back up, and also when the reverse repos all of a sudden, let me go back there, all of a sudden started to pick up, cash coming out of the system. Coincidence or not? I just find that really interesting. Now, fast forward to today. Okay, we have an election going on, and let's just look at Polymarket. Okay, Polymarket, it's not like a poll. People are putting money into it. Okay, it says Trump is winning there. We could look at Vegas odds as well. Trump is what, 459 to 42 Polymarket. I know Seedblaz talks about Polymarket. Vegas odds, election 2024. Let's look at this. Betting odds. Okay, Real Clear Polling. I didn't even know they have this. Just did a Google search. Okay, so a lot of these polls, Bet Online, Betfair, all in the like upper 50s right now, where people have to throw in the money. So assuming no Hankus Panky or no Hanky Panky goes down, Chiggy Wiggy goes down, it appears that Trump is going to win. Now, even if he wins, people are telling me like he's pro-business. Now, I want to look at it from an unbiased point of view because, when you trade like I do on the side, you can't let your own bias or you can't get emotional when trading or investing. I'm just looking at this. Liquidity's coming out. There is a divergence, like I said earlier, in money supply, right? When there's a divergence in RSI, a technical indicator in the stock market, people and traders they look at various technical indicators. If there's a divergence, it catches their eye. This has caught my eye. Money supply is going down. So, assuming if Trump wins, for me to turn my opinion around on the whole economy and even sports cars in general, for this index, CL50, this is just, a staple of the top cars once again. You could look at it, Jackie Robinson, Wayne Gretzky. This card was hot during the pandemic. You had Bird, Magic, Julius Irving. Like those cards were going for a good amount at the time. And the PSA 10 still commands a high dollar amount, close to 500K. But if you look at the pandemic, it was double, almost double of what it is right now. So it's not even close to where it was back then. So for me to change my mind on, the whole system's coming down, the, banking system could be in trouble. I linked on my Instagram to an interview that Avi Gilbert, a very sound technical analyst, and also Robert Prechter. They're in the Elliott Wave school, Elliott Wave theory. They're predicting like potentially a banking meltdown. And Avi Gilbert's had a great record the past decade. So I'm paying close attention to that. And it's crazy what he's saying because he was just bullish like crazy the past decade. And he's recommending his clients to go into safer banks and could be some huge issues down the road, like you saw in Cyprus over a decade ago. You should look at bail-ins. Any business, by the way, you should definitely look at your banking information. You need to park your money with a safe bank. And I could get into that another day, but anyways, if I if the card market, or how should I say this, next president, for me to change my mind on the sports card market and the economy, this money supply has to start dramatically increasing. And if it does not dramatically increase next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, we have a lot of trouble ahead. This is taking liquidity out of the system. This is going to take liquidity out of the system. They either got to print money up the wazoo, stimulus plans, or like crazy tax cuts. And if you don't do that right away, you're going to have a lot of problems. And I would be very interested in seeing this graph, the CL50, if Avi Gilbert is right on the market meltdown. Let me go to that interview. So I know it's not related to sports cards, but this was a really good discussion. Elliott Wave theory. What's that guy's name? Yeah, this was a very good interview and or a fireside market chat with Robert Prechter and Avi Gilbert. It's a must watch. I know it's not about sports cards, but I listen to people with decent track records, and Avi definitely has that over the past decade. So if you get anything from this podcast that I'm doing right now or this video, watch this. It's only an hour long. It doesn't take that long because I think he's onto something with the banking system and how fragile it is. And he doesn't care who wins because it's hard to put Humpty Dumpty back together. Now, once again, there are caveats for me to change my mind, but they got to act aggressively. If they don't act aggressively within the new year, there's going to be a lot of problems. I hope I'm wrong. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.